Hey guys, good morning, good morning, good morning. It's me, your life coach, Andrea Jackson from Joy Life Centers Coaching and Consulting. So glad to be on here. We're going to be closing out, maybe, but our plan is to close out healing from anger. We have some people waiting to come on in. So I just thank God that you're here. Hold on a second. I'm going to go ahead and admit others. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I see Miss Melinda, and I know you're multitasking. Good morning. I see Miss Bianca's trying to get her audio connected, and we're going to jump right on in. All right, I think everyone's audio is connected. Good morning, guys. Good morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another day of life change, another day of moving in the direction to make our 2023 better than our 2022. It's all about progression, planting seeds and watching the harvest, planting seeds, applying what we've learned in former seasons, and walking into our greater. So I am just so grateful. We're going to be possibly closing out healing from anger today. We're going to talk about that MCL, that more caring life, that motivating, that containing, and that listening. We're going to talk about that today, and that will probably close us out for this lesson. And I am just so grateful for all of the feedback that I've heard. Everyone, I just want you to know that's what the group dynamic is all about, people helping people, people helping people. So I am so glad that you are here today and that we're here to help one another while being helped. All right. It's all about that. Two or three, when two or three are gathered together in his name, he's in the midst. And when he's in the midst, things happen, miraculous things happen, wonderful things happen, life change happens, keys begin to fit, puzzle pieces begin to all of a sudden come together. So I honor you guys, and I thank you so much for calling in so faithfully to Joy Life Center. So we're going to get on in, but not without checking in first. I want to hear how you're doing. What's your mental health state like? So we're going to do a brief check-in, and then we're going to get into MCL. So I think that let's see. I think Miss Alice was our oh no, I'm sorry, I read that wrong. Miss Bianca is our first caller today. Miss Bianca, please go ahead, unmute your phone and check in, please.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I am doing well, mentally well, physically well. I've been up, done exercise,
Oh,
done
wow.
walk. Um, About to pick and choose what I would like to eat for breakfast. So I'm doing well overall, and I'm here to learn. Thank you.
Awesome. I love that. Thank you so much, Miss Bianca. Thank you. And let's see. Good morning, Miss Denise. Good morning. Go ahead and check in, sweetheart.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, ooh, you talking about anger and rage? Oh boy, I ran into some yesterday again.
Oh, wow.
Snatched my whole day
Mm.
from me. And I know it ain't just them, it's something behind them, like serious behind them. And I know it's gonna be a problem, and I'm praying that's God, because I'm tired of it already.
Okay.
I'm tired of people with a whole lot of fighting. In my life, I've lost a lot of things, a lot of battles, and some things I've won just to be here. Yet here still, but it's a lot of I just whew. I'm not in the greatest space today, but I'm yet here, so I'm here to learn. Thank you.
I'm so glad you're here this morning. So glad that you're here. Thank you so much for checking in. And that's what it's all about, that press. That press. Thank you so much, Denise. Let's see. I see Miss Melinda. She may not be able to check in. Miss Melinda, are you able to check in this morning? If not, that's okay. All right. All
Good
right.
morning. No, not right now. But
Okay.
I'm here just to listen. I'm in class, but I'm here to listen. Thank you. And my mental
Awesome.
state is doing well this morning. Thank you for asking. And praise God to everyone on the line. And Miss Denise, I'm going to lift you up in prayer silently as we on the line this morning. God bless everyone.
I love that. Thank you so much, Miss Melinda. Thank you, thank you, thank you. On this morning, we're going to get into our next phase of how to deal with anger as we're healing from anger. We've talked about a lot of different things, how anger works. We talked about perceptions, and we've talked about our viewpoints of anger and how we can turn our thinking over from destructive thinking to a more constructive way of thinking so that we can gain the most from our behaviors and how we receive a thing. Sometimes we have to counteract our own self. Sometimes we have to step in and save ourselves. We have to rescue ourselves from that negative end result. Sometimes we have to just come on in and say, you know what? I'm going to turn this way of thinking around. It's just like in our faith, renewing our minds according to this gospel word, renewing our minds. We become a new creature in Christ Jesus as we renew our minds. So guess what? These biblical principles, they are very necessary as we're getting into our life change, as we're moving forward in our life change, as we're maturing and progressing in our life change. We find that our minds have to change. We have to believe in a set of principles that's going to get us from where we are to where we're going. Because I don't know about you, but with me within myself, I haven't been able to do that as nice. I did my own thing coming up, dealing with my own understanding, dealing with my own truth, dealing with my own blah, blah, blah. But guess what? I found myself in some predicaments that, well, I'll say were all bad. Predicaments where I wasn't as happy, predicaments where I wasn't as prosperous. But guess what? It was a teaching moment because where I found myself, I found that I didn't want to be anymore. I heard a message on Lodabar. When I find myself in Lodabar, regardless to what that Lodabar is, if the poverty is financial, if the poverty is emotional, if the poverty is social, if that restricted place is even in the healthiness of my mental state, then guess what? Once I find my way out, I need to stay out. So this is why we come on this line, so that we can develop a healthier way of thinking, that we may heal in our emotions, that we may continue to move forward in our lives. So today we're going to be talking about MCL, motivate, contain, and listen. What am I saying? Let me explain this to you. We put more caring love, more caring life, because these are things that you might remember, because I want you to remember the acronym. You might not remember motivate, contain, listen. You might not remember that, but you may remember, hey, a more caring life. I might be able to remember that, a more caring life. So therefore, we find that in this, the M stands for motivate. One thing that I have to do before an anger producing situation is continue to motivate. I identify that maybe my anger is an issue, and I'm going to own that today. So therefore, I'm going to motivate myself into some positive change. I'm going to put an anger policy around what I'm going to do and what I'm not going to do, where I'm going to go, where I'm not going to go, how far am I going to engage in combat before I just throw up the white flag, or turn around and forbear. I like how a former participant said, I don't have to be challenged within myself to say, hey, I'm gonna stand here because I ain't no punk. Was knowing that anger is maybe my kryptonite, like kryptonite is the Superman, then I'm not gonna let it get that far. I'm not gonna stand here and win the argument, because the outcome of winning the outcome doesn't compare to the outcome if I allow my anger to take control. So I'm gonna motivate myself in positive ways. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then I'm going to contain myself. I love the example that I heard years ago. When there is a dangerous toxic spill, they're not sitting there figuring out, how did this happen? I wonder how deep is this going to go? How much is that going to affect our life? No, they're jumping into emergency mode and they're trying to contain the problem before it goes any further. We'll figure it out later. But right now, let's contain the problem. Likewise with our anger, during an anger episode where somebody already brought you into this place. And I keep saying someone, but within ourselves, we've been brought into a situation where our anger has now been produced. So now what are we going to do? We're going to contain the anger. We're going to keep it from going to the blackout, going into the red, going into the more dangerous, severe places where I may have some severe consequences because of it. So we're going to contain it, right? So that's the C. And then the L is for after the anger producing situation is over. I'm going to listen to myself. This is something we don't do. Not listen to this, and that so-and-so told me. We're not talking about that. Listen to you. Listen to yourself. Listen to what your needs are. Listen to what it is that bothered you. What moved you into that place? Listen and learn from that teaching moment. So we're going to move right on into that. And so I want to ask, before we get into MCL, has anyone identified anything since we've been talking about healing from anger? Is there anyone that have taken something and has brought you to a place of more healing in your anger? I would like to hear from you. I'll go ahead and unmute your phone and share. If, as a direct result of what we've been sharing thus far, that you kind of feel some healing, what was that for you that kind of touched your heart and changing you towards your anger? Go ahead, unmute your phone and share.
I want to share this. Really learning about the split self. And how that particular part of you kind of just split off, or you don't pay it no attention, or you put it underneath the carpet, or we're not going to deal with that. You're stronger than that. That really, because again, like I said, I've heard that teaching a few times, but it's kind of every time I hear it, I really don't get the concept of it. Okay. But on this particular time around, I was able to get the concept and to identify some of the things that I found to see, okay, well, because of abandonment that came along with, now I want to control things.
Okay.
And then, now that I control things, that's because I'm fearful. So here comes fear to connect itself with it. So I really would like to say that particular lesson and just doing the deep down. I always say that these classes really make you go real deep down on the inside of you, stuff that you may have buried for months, years, and decades, and and you begin to really look at that thing and be able to identify it and start to heal it. So I would like to say that on this morning.
Excellent. So glad to hear that. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that, Bianca. Anyone else? All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and move forward. So
Wait a
glad
minute,
you guys.
wait a
Oh, go
minute.
ahead.
Just looking at the concept of split self. There's so much to learn about this. Oh my goodness, it's so much. For me, the biggest thing about things, about anger, the bottom line is it's just about acceptance.
Yeah.
It's really about just accept. Okay, it is what it is, you know. And I had a lesson yesterday that I learned. And when you mess with that source, all you're gonna get is the same old thing.
Yeah.
And it was an utter waste of my day. I can't. There's nothing in it. And but the person who gave them my number, and I can't wait to get hold of them.
Oh, Lord.
You know, they don't get it. It's like I told you. There's a reason why we don't communicate. And you gave them my number freely, like it was nothing. Like, you just you need to stop me like I wish we could. But when you call my number, you stepped over your line.
Okay.
And I learned just it is what it is, and if I don't know what to do, and I'm gonna be calling you later, Mrs. Jackson.
Okay.
But one thing is, some folk their change is not gonna change. Matter of fact, as we get older, some of us get worse.
Yeah.
And you accept the fact they are, and they're gonna do what they're gonna do. And if you can sidestep them and not thinking about the Bible verse as much as you can, live in peace with all men.
Yeah.
As much as you can, live in peace. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. And that's so true. What do we have to do to live in peace with all men? Sometimes it's the distance. I like how you said, I do not want this person to have my number. I laid that boundary down for my safety. And sometimes people don't recognize the seriousness of our boundaries. And like I said, I can just imagine to get a phone call from someone that does no longer deserve my space. No one that no longer respects my space. So therefore they've been ostracized from my space, to have them in their ear, in your ear. You never know what those things can trigger. So now it's like we have to refortify those boundaries, refortify those boundaries. And sometimes that comes with some strong language. Sometimes you can't say, excuse me, I don't want you to call me, please. But sometimes, listen, please don't call me, and then again, with the person that gave the number, sometimes we have to refortify these boundaries, because sometimes people don't take us serious. They have not accepted our life change. And sometimes it's just a matter of, well, you disrespect your boundaries, so I didn't think it was that serious. But that's how come we have to teach people how to handle us. And it starts with us respecting and handling ourselves well. So I thank you so much for that. Bianca, were you trying to share something?
I did. I am. I wanted to apologize because I think I went too far back because I started talking about the split self.
That's okay. That's
Oh,
okay.
okay.
Mhm.
Because with all that being said, it still went into anger.
Yes.
So yeah, okay. I just want to make sure. I'm like, oh, I probably went too far back. We're talking about anger. Well, okay. Thank you.
No problem at all. No, whatever it is that helped you to even identify the anger. Like you said, you had to identify a split. And once you identified that, then you can see the trail of pain, the trail of the character, the trail of the emotions, the trail that comes with it. You can see it more clear. Sometimes we can't see it, but when we get in a certain position, we can see it. It's just like an insurance adjuster. When there's an accident, you know, that owner of the car, they may see it. They may say, oh, there's no real damage. But when the adjuster comes, they maybe stand from a different angle or they look around in a different place and they can see the dent from a different angle. Sometimes we don't see all of that until we identify something at a certain angle or even see the head of it. Like you said, it came with seeing the abandonment. And now you can understand where the control comes from. Now you can understand where the depression comes from, where the fear comes from, where the anger comes from. So no, that was excellent. Thank you so very much. So today we're going to talk about before those anger producing situations. We're going to talk about motivating ourselves. It's hard to motivate yourself to do something different in the midst of an anger producing situation or an anger situation. So therefore, we're going to motivate ourselves ahead of time, knowing and owning that anger is an issue. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to take a look at some things that I need to do proactively. Because if I be proactive, I don't have to worry about being reactive. I'm going to react if I'm out of control of my anger. But if I'm proactive, knowing what's going on in here, going back to the split self, what emotionally breaks off in here, who am I, what I need to give attention to. If I know I need to give attention to my anger, then what I'm going to do is work on that proactively. And so some of the things that is suggested here is to observe the cost of your anger. Observe the cost of the past where anger has brought you. If it's left you by yourself, if it's brought you in consequences, if you hurt someone as a result of your anger, if people became afraid of you as a result of your anger, people walked away from you, those are the cost of your anger. So let's first take a look at the cost of our anger. Let's also take the time to go to someone that we trust and let's get some feedback on our anger, because sometimes we may look at our situation as everybody just blow up every so often, because maybe you're around people that blow up just like you. But at the same time, let's get some feedback. Let's step outside our circle. Is this normal or is this not? What's going on with me? So let's get some feedback about that. Also, let's feel the impact of anger on our body. So sometimes we don't realize how much of an impact the anger has on your body. Because remember, just as we talk about stress, stress is moving, it's alive, it's energy, and so is anger. Anger can shorten the days of your life. Anger can do some things in you that you don't want done. So therefore, with that anger, let's notice the impact on our body. Let's notice the increased heart rate. Let's notice if your palms become sweaty, if your vision become blurred, if your blood pressure begin to increase, if you get a pain in your back, notice the impact that it has on your body. Also, notice whom your anger has hurt. I know we may have mentioned that in the cost of anger, but I want you to take a moment just to reflect on who your anger has hurt. Many times we can look at situations and we begin to see how the anger has hurt people that we love. Anger has hurt people that we care for. Anger has hurt people, maybe even little people, maybe our elders, maybe someone has gone on to glory and one of your last interactions with them was blowing up on them. So we want to take a look at who our anger has impacted. We want to also, again, as we're motivating ourselves before an anger producing situation, let's develop a policy on anger. What I'm going to do if. We have certain policies, and policies change because life situations change, and we need a policy surrounding that. So now that I've identified that maybe anger is something that I deal with, then what's the policy I'm going to put on there? Okay, after I said something 3 times, I'm going to walk away. Or maybe after I start noticing my hand twitching, I'm going to walk away. So, what's your policy on anger? Also, imagine how it would feel to be in control of your anger. You know how we sit back and we kind of imagine our life better in a different situation or a different circumstance. We have how you sit back and imagine what your life would look like without the out of control anger. Think about the state that your life would be in if your anger wasn't a situation. And let's kind of ponder on that. It's okay to daydream sometimes. Sometimes we can't take out the whole day to do that. But, let's just kind of imagine, how much freer my life would be, how much impactful if I can just control this anger. Also, let's learn more about anger, because some of the things that could be very healing to us is knowing on some of the destruction about it, learning about anger. We have these little smartphones now. So let's get these smartphones and get to going. Let's Google it, let's Siri it, let's, whatever search engine you use, let's go ahead and find out more about anger. Go on YouTube and find out some techniques that I can maybe do proactively, because remember, all of this is in the M, in motivating. Let's motivate ourselves before an anger producing situation starts. Because guess what? When the anger producing situation is now in full throttle, guess what? You've had some work. You've planted some seeds. You've renewed your mindset. You've done some work. I like how another participant said she's been praying, she's been fasting, she's been coming to this class, she's been doing this, she's been doing that. And she said she's noticing that her anger is so much better. She said, I don't know what it did. She said, I don't know what happened. I don't know when it occurred or when it changed, but all of this working together, it worked for my good, and I can feel it now. So whenever we start putting some things in play, life does change. If we sit and just kind of wonder, I wonder if life can change for me, it may not. We're waiting for our ship to come in. That ship may not ever come to our port. So we got to proactively get in and take some change, make some change. Also, carry an anger reminder. Last time you went to jail, last bad argument you got into, whatever that is, just carry that, an anger reminder, something in your pocket, something in your purse to remind you, anger, let's stay in control. Even if it's a little coin with the serenity prayer, to stay in serenity. Maybe it's a picture of someone you love that you no longer talk to or no longer talks to you because of anger, whichever. Also, let's get rid of all the weapons in our house until things are safe. But I want to go ahead and open the floor to you guys to see which one of these suggestions for motivation, to motivate yourself prior to an anger producing situation, which one of them stick out to you that you're going to walk out with today? Go ahead, unmute your phone and share. Anything today? Is there something new that you may have thought of that you can do to motivate yourself? Being aware that I am angry or that I have an anger problem, maybe my anger is a little out of control, being aware of that and owning it, that means I'm going to do something about it. So what is it that you can do to motivate out of all the suggestions that we've shown, that I've shared with you? Or maybe you have another that you would like to do to motivate yourself in obtaining that more better control, obtaining that more control over your anger, because we're owning it. Owning it is saying we're going to take responsibility for it. So what are you going to do to better control your anger before an anger situation occurs. Go ahead. Ms. Bianca, are you trying to share?
Yes. What I do is I remove myself from the situation.
Okay, hold on. This is for the motivate. What do you do before a situation? So what we're trying to do now, since we acknowledge that there's maybe some lack of control with the anger, owning it, meaning I'm going to be responsible for it. So we're talking about with the motivate, what to do before the anger situation happens. What do you do to work on you and your anger before that situation comes about? I love what you were about to say, that you would walk away, but that's from a situation. What are we going to do before something comes and rocks our boat?
Pray.
Okay, excellent.
Pray. Yeah, I'm gonna pray. And I'm so sorry because I got a little distracted, so I wasn't able really to hear the fullness of it.
Oh, no problem.
But yeah, but that's what I would do. I would pray. I
Okay,
would pray. Yeah. I'm so
excellent.
sorry.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So Ms. Bianca said, as a conditioning and a preparation to deal with future things that may occur, knowing, remember, we're talking about motivate. I'm going to motivate myself to be in better control before any anger producing situations. Remember, we've acknowledged that there is a situation. I've acknowledged my car doesn't have gas. It doesn't have gas. So before I get to a place where I'm stranded in the desert 12 miles away from the gas station, there's some things that I'm going to do once I've identified that that's a problem. You know, maybe I'm going to start counting my money. Maybe I'm going to start searching out where is the nearest gas station. Maybe I'm going to find the trail, I'm a GPS to that nearest gas station. There's some things that I'm going to do proactively, knowing I have a problem. Knowing I have a problem, there's some things that I'm going to do proactively before that situation occurs. And I'm going to get some gas, of course. But in our lives, that's not as easy. When we're talking about dealing with anger, when we're talking about dealing with anger, what can I do to motivate myself on a daily basis so that when these anger producing situations happen, when I'm at the check cashing, I'm in the cashier's line, and this cashier, she wants to stop and she wants to talk to this person in line about her new baby, and I'm late for work. You know, that may be more than just irritating. It may make me angry. So what have I done so far that now I've worked on myself? I've motivated myself to stay in control. What am I doing? And I'll just for those that may have been also distracted, I'll just throw a few of the suggestions out at you. For one, observe the cost of anger. Remember to observe the cost of anger. Get feedback about your anger. Feel the impact of anger on your body. Notice whom your anger has hurt. Develop a policy around your anger. Imagine how it would feel to control your anger. Learn more about anger. Create an image to help you deal with anger better. And also carry anger reminders. I guess I read them all without the details. But so what is it that you can do to motivate, to build yourself, to put you in better control of your anger before an anger producing situation? I don't mean that you know one is coming. I mean, just working on you as you've identified this is a problem, working on you so that when these things occur, you already have some seeds sown that's ready to harvest on your behalf. Go right ahead, Ms. Bianca.
I will say also self-talk.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah, self-talk and reminding myself of what the consequences have been in the prior when I allow my anger to
Yeah,
take full control.
I love it.
What happened? What I had to go through?
Yeah,
What I damaged?
yeah,
All those different things. Remembering that, always keeping that to the fore in foresight of this is what anger happens when you get angry. You
okay.
know, you lose control, and when you lose control, then you lose control of everything.
Ooh.
You lose control of everything, and as sometimes there is a time where no one could actually talk to you
Yeah.
to try to bring you back down. So yeah, I was self-talk and always keep in my memory that, you know what, remember that this got you in a lot of trouble. And I think people like to say, view the whole tape,
Yes.
view the whole
Yes.
tape from beginning to end, view it all. Don't just stop, and say, oh, well, I can handle this, or, whatever. View the whole tape. So that's what I would say. Thank you for redoing that over again. Thank you.
Welcome back. That's amazing. I love that. Not to leave out prayer, because once we identify something, we want to continue to pray about it. God, help me keep my anger in control. And I like, on top of that, like she said, faith without works is dead. So I'm going to also remember the cost of my anger. Remember the consequences that I've endured. Remember that. Leave those things on the forelets of your mind, on the frontlets of your mind, so that you won't stray away from it. Thank you. Welcome back, Bianca. Anyone else? What can you do to motivate yourself before an anger producing situation occurs? What you gonna do to work on you, to work on that anger? Okay, well, we're gonna move on to the C. Remember, MCL, motivate, contain, listen. So now we're talking about during. We talked about what we're gonna do before. We're gonna work on ourselves before. We're not gonna wait for an anger producing situation to bam, hit us in the face, and then we're gonna be like, oh, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? No, we're gonna think about, we're gonna soothe that side of us. We're gonna learn how to take control. We're gonna study, we're gonna remember the cost of it. We're gonna put a plan and a policy in place concerning my anger, so that, you know how they say, it's an old saying that say prevention is better than cure. So sometimes I have to find out how to prevent an anger situation, how to resolve conflict. That's a big one. We have to learn how to resolve conflict, because there shall be conflict. There's going to be conflict. Everybody don't think like you. Everybody don't believe like you. Everybody don't talk like you. Everyone's not going to say the words that's going to just blend together in your life. It's not going to happen. It's not. So therefore, how do we resolve the conflict? How do we bypass conflict? How do we operate without allowing our anger to step in? Well, now we're going to talk about containing. Now that there is a situation, it's here and it done teed me off. My anger is produced. So now I have to learn how to contain it. So destructive anger, as we know and have shared, can blind a person. So one thing is that it's important that we begin to lessen the damage. I'll say again about that. If there's a toxic spill, we're not trying to figure out how it happened right now. We're not trying to figure out if it's going to reach Bob, or if it's going to get to Jane, and is it going to ruin their legs or anything like that. No, we're going to try to stop it. It's an emergency. So these are things that we're trying to do. If we're in an anger producing situation and you start feeling that anger rise, now these are some things that maybe you can do to help yourself contain the situation. One thing, delay it, time out it. Maybe I'm not ready, so I'm going to time out. I'm going to put myself on a timeout. I'm going to rescue myself and put myself on a quick timeout. I can also, in my mind, remember your grounding activities, your grounding techniques. Remember, you have mental grounding, physical grounding, soothing grounding. So when your anger is up and you're in a situation, remember, right there in the midst of that situation, you can, within yourself, Do a soothing exercise. I am in control of my anger. I am not who I was. I am not the repeat of my past. I am in control. I'm walking away from this situation. I got this. You're an amazing person, Andrea. You can do this. Bianca, you got this. Denise, walk away. You're greater than this. Susu, God is with you. Melinda, don't forget who you are. Jenny, you're greater than this. We have soothing exercises that we can do, grounding exercises through soothing that we take over, we center ourselves. We center ourselves so that we're not out of control. There are some things, or you can play that song in your mind. What song? Any song, whatever song changes your mood. The Eye of the Tiger. Remember, you're not getting a radio and earplugs. Wait right here, I'll be back. I got to go to the 99-cent store and get me some earplugs. No, this is something you're taking control. Remember, our grounding exercise is to ground you in the present. I'm not going to be moved by what's going on outside of here. I'm going to stay grounded in the here and now. And my here and now is in control, in peace, in serenity, in the place of prosperity. So therefore, I am in control. So I may not be able to physically start jumping up and down, and they may think I want to fight or something, but what I do up here has more power, or should have more power than anything outside of my internal world. Also, do activities that help you feel in control. You may want to just stop. When you have that anger on you, go clean your room. I like how Ms. Denise said, take it to the gym. If you have the time, if that anger is in your head and in your heart, but it's not around you, go work that stuff out somewhere. Do something productive with it. Also, notice what are some of the things you're grateful for. Turn that anger around. Excuse me. I'm so grateful that I'm free and amongst the free. I'm so grateful to have life. I'm so grateful to have all my limbs, because somebody got into a fight or somebody got into a situation where their limbs were taken. Hey, so I'm grateful that I have this. I'm grateful of who I am. I'm grateful that I have a relationship with God. I'm so grateful that He hears my cries. His ears is open to my prayers. I'm so grateful. Remember your benefits. Remember your privileges, because sometimes our mind can be consumed with the negatives, what we lack, what we're not, that we forget to be grateful. That gratefulness can maintain you to your next miracle, to your next blessing. Gratefulness. Also, we can also remember clear thinking. Clear thinking. Remember, we talked about that yesterday, going from destructive views to constructive views, clearer thinking that makes our thoughts a little bit more clearer, where I can process through this anger and get on and not allow it to consume my life. Also, turn around and see the good in people. Okay. We all have strengths and weaknesses. We all have things that are good and things that are not so good, so let's try to take a moment. That person that we're angry at, hey, this is their weakness. Why should I let it contribute to mine? This is their witness. This is their weakness. So therefore, let's see the good in it. I remember I was at a conference, and the speaker was saying, about how we complain about people and a friend did you wrong and, this, that, and the other. And she was saying, just remember some of the good times that you guys had. Remember when they were there for you when no one else wasn't. Remember how it could be a parent that they gave you life. Remember that they Remember, how they were there for you at the funeral or whatever it was. Sometimes we allow some of the negatives to stand so strong in between our relationship, our connectivity with people. Everybody don't have to be in your personal or most private space. No. But we don't have to ostracize people either. Let's see the good in them. Let's remember that there's something great about them. Even if this moment is not blaring that in my face, at the same time, there's something great in them that maybe I loved at another time or appreciated at another time. And also, if you are unaware of your anger in this anger producing situation, try to make yourself conscious of it. Up, there's your anger. Hold on now. Let's remember you got policies and everything else around this. Remember, this can be a setup to my demise. Remember, winning this argument, is it really worth it? Also, remember the bottom line, it's not okay to act out your anger. Because when we act out our anger, we act it out in negative speaking, we acted out in slander, bad words. We acted out with hitting or striking, moving. I remember recently, one of my great nieces had got into her feelings on a matter, and because of things that she's gone through and things that has happened to her and the way she's being raised, she responded best as she knows how. And I asked her to move over, and she was very resistant and very rebellious in the matter. And I took her and I moved her over, and I felt so bad about that, because once we have to do things with our hands, lots of times we're acting out our anger. Sometimes we just have to do things, but it's never okay to harm someone. It's never okay to try to make a person do it, because then my will is being exalted, excuse me, above your will, that other person's will. Maybe that person needed something at the moment, or that could have went very terribly bad. What if she would have struck and her coat accidentally hit me in the face, and and then I'm fighting with a kid, out of what do you call that? Automatic rebound or automatic, you know what I'm saying? But what if anything could have happened when we act out on our anger? So we want to make sure that we're able to converse, whereas our anger is concerned. Also, we want to stay humble. Let's stay humble, because sometimes our humility is going out the door when our anger is in play. So I want to ask each and every one of you that will participate on this morning, what can you do in the midst of an anger producing situation? Whether one of these that I have shared with you or something else that you considered or thought of, please unmute your phone and share. And Bianca, this is where you can come in with your walk away.
That's what I was about to say. I guess this would be the perfect time now to talk about the walk away.
Yes, yes.
To walk away from it. Don't sit there and engage.
Yeah.
Because I personally, I can feel when I'm getting angry.
Mhm.
It's not silent, but I can feel, whether it be I feel my blood pressure rising,
Mhm.
whether I feel like my head's clenching, or whatever the symptom or the giveaway would be, I feel it.
Right.
And so with that being said, learn to walk away, because we cannot deal with anger when we angry.
Right.
It's hard to deal with anger when you angry.
Absolutely.
Because again, anything and everything probably gonna come up and come out, and you'll pull something way back from 1950, and you'll bring that forward also. So yeah, and I think that will come underneath listening too. So knowing the sign, I'm so far ahead. But anyway, yeah, that would be something that I would do. And I like what you said also about grounding.
Mhm.
Using those techniques also of grounding, and again, I will have to say, again, I have to, but I guess that will go back to motivate. I gotta play that tape.
Yeah.
I got to play the tape,
Yeah.
because if I don't play the tape, then I forget the consequence. I forget all the pain that I could cause, not only just myself, because when it's over and done with, and I done showed myself, there's embarrassment and, oh my goodness, guilt, shame, and all these other different things, but also what I did to the other person. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that would be for me. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. And I forgot to mention that one that you said, playing that whole tape. I love that. Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Bianca. Anyone else? What can you do during an anger producing situation? An anger situation is it's already produced now. What can you do while involved to contain the anger, not to suppress it, not to try to sit there and hold yourself, but what can you do to contain the matter? Please unmute your phone share. Go ahead.
Sometimes you better run. You better run, child. You better run. You better run. Sometimes there's some stuff on. In a way, I'm just thinking about something that I may be solo bolo, but I ain't got nobody I got to sleep with that's irritating. I'm telling the truth. I don't have nobody I got to sleep with that's irritating me,
Okay.
and I might have a hot flash on.
Absolutely.
You know, the anger thing, like a lot of the past anger, okay, that's a done deal. Now, the one, like I said, the one that I get into it with me about is the FAILURE, that I
Okay.
failed at certain missions in my personal life. Okay, the personal relationship was crap. Okay, we acknowledge that it was what it was, but God blessed me to survive it.
Mhm.
But now we got to do something about this FAILURE. And woo, my goodness. But that anger episode, try not, for me, I got to monitor myself a lot closely and try not to go there.
Okay.
Because lately I've been blowing up.
Okay.
Like, and usually it's the pressure of I've been tampered with for a long, long time, and then I blow up,
Yeah.
like years up. And then I finally blew up, and everybody was shocked, surprised, amazed, horrified that I blew up.
Right.
And that's not right. That's not what I want to represent. No, it's not what I want in my journey. It's not right. It's not right. And it's not appropriate
Mhm.
for the journey. Understand? Uh, I just want to, there's some folk in my life I'm willing to totally separate from.
Okay.
I'm real willing because there's just no purpose there. There's nothing there. Obviously, whatever they're doing on their side of the street, they ain't never got no healing. I've gotten a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten a lot more than they did. But I give God the glory. I give glory what I do have, and then what I'm going to do working out. And I thank Him for it. And I just thank God for, just being more aware. Coming to this group online is just making you more aware. A lot of times we react before we slow down and think. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Excellent. Excellent. Being more aware in situations in life, being more aware of our anger, being more aware of the damage that certain people, and like I said, we don't like blaming others, but there are people who This is how they live their life. And it's contrary and conflicting to how we live ours. We're trying to move forward and some people aren't. You know, they talk about the crabs in the barrel that's always pulling you down. Well, sometimes we need to separate from that crab and get in another barrel. And it's perfectly okay. Everyone doesn't deserve to be in your light or in your space. You know, everyone deserves our love, but everyone doesn't deserve it up close. Some people can't handle it. You know, some people are immature. They're not there in their ability. There's some people that's been damaged. They're not there in their ability. And some people just don't want to be. There's many other variables, but it's just like, hey, I would love to give my little one a nice fine car. I saw a Bentley that's a sports car. I didn't even know they had sport car Bentley. I just think about the big car and the guy driving it and he's being chauffeured and another being chauffeured in the back, you know, but they have like little two-seater Bentleys, you know, and my little one, he loves cars, you know, he tells me about all the Teslas and the various models of Teslas and this, that, and the other, and how some of them have this kind of doors, some of them don't, you know. And, you know, I would love to say, hey, for his birthday, I'm going to surprise him with a Tesla. You know, even if I had that type of money, it would be a bad investment because they're not at that maturity to even appreciate the fineness, the functionality, the value of a Tesla. And that's likewise, there's some people that's not able to appreciate the fineness and the functionality, the glory of who you are. And we have to learn sometimes how to separate, and it's okay. It doesn't counteract our beliefs. You know, we just our spiritual beliefs, I'll say, because we have many different beliefs, but it doesn't counteract our belief as a believer in Christ Jesus. You know, he says you would have to go out of this world to be away from people that decide to live their life in that fashion. You would have to go out of this world. So I can't go out the world, but I can fine tune my world. So I love that. I love that because guess what? I'm working on me. I'm working on my anger. I'm working on the defects of my life to make them better. And if you're a kryptonite to me, then I cannot have you in my private or personal space. And for some, I may have to say bye. I cannot have you even in my public space because you're just that damaging. So we have to look out for us. We can't be an effect on someone else if we don't take care of ourselves. We can't even do ministry in the right way if we don't take care of ourselves. There's some people that are highly gifted, they're highly anointed, but because they won't take care of their own mental health, guess what? I've seen those same people go through the same circles of opening themselves up, having a good relationship with people, and then just damaging it because they're not taking care of themselves. So all they're doing is creating bridges, destruction of bridges all of their life, every new relationship, every new friendship. And it's terrible. And they blame the devil when the devil wasn't nowhere around. So anyone else, what can we do within that anger situation that we're going to contain our own anger and respond urgently to remove ourselves from that situation or to just contain it until we're in a better place? What can you do? Anyone else? Any of the suggestions that I read, or any of those something that you would consider doing?
Just have to slow down the reaction.
Yes, I like that.
Slow down. Like, sir, excuse me. I understand your concerns. Let me step away and I'll be back maybe in an hour or two if I come back.
I love it.
Yeah, because it's just like it's pointless. And plus, with anger, like if please y'all, please find that song on YouTube by Marvin Gaye called Anger. And it was off the Divorce album called Hear My Dear, where he breaks it down. I'm like, anger. He says, I don't need my body to feel bad. That anger runs up hypertension. It does all types of things.
Yes.
And I really, really personally, I really, really feel for those who have been through some really horrifying traumatic events and how that comes out of them
Mm.
and not even being able to go in and deal with those horrifying traumatic events,
Mhm.
are not ready to deal with it yet and they still blowing up. I was telling somebody about a character called Katie Kaboom from
Mhm.
the cartoon called the Animaniacs, and I made them look at a little few episodes how Katie Kaboom, when she wasn't getting away, how she blew up
Ooh.
and she scared the parents. I mean, they put on air raid helmets, and the sirens went off and everything. Katie Kaboom, and
Oh my God, that's funny.
it's on YouTube. I live on YouTube, but that anger thing, I don't want to be like that. I don't, and the tension and the stress and the wear and the tear it puts on your heart, on your organs, on your neurological system. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm ready to do whatever I need to do to reduce my anger problem. I'm ready to do it. And thank you. I'm ready to do it. I'm ready to do it.
Thank you, Jesus. That's amazing. Thank you so much for that. I love that. And I love how she said to delay your response. Isn't that something? That's another way to contain anger, just by delaying a response. Oh, I gotta run. I'll be back. Maybe, maybe not. But I have to do what I have to do to help me in such situations of life. I love that. Thank you so much. Anyone else before we move on to the L? The L is what we do after the anger producing situation has now come to a throttle and now you're in it. So we saved ourselves, we delayed our response, or we walked away, or we were where we did a grounding exercise and soothing, whatever it was that we did. We noticed the cost and we decided that we were going to go to the gym instead of pondering on that anger producing situation. What do you do after? So we're going to talk about that. Anybody else before we move on? Anyone else on the C? How do we contain our anger?
Hi, hello everyone, and Miss Jackson.
Hey, Miss Jenny.
Hi, I was just listening in, and um, um, thank God for you, Miss Jackson, and everyone else on the session. I thank God for the lesson. Uh, I just wanted to respond to the parts of your anger issues, and what had came to my mind also is like I want to piggyback on Miss Bianca of the you know of praying, praying before, and then think about as I gotten older. I'm over 50 now, and as I've gotten older, I try to think more before I speak something
Okay.
or to respond to someone that is angry towards me.
Mhm.
As I grew up, a lot of people that I noticed that they were angry, and I grew up not being as a angry person, but when we get there, sometimes somebody, as you could say, push your button and
Mhm.
can get you to that part, and and physically, damage and emotionally. But I remember what helped me is that I remember that, when I was younger, oh yeah, all right, come on, what's up? Let's do this. And then as I got older, and then I'm like, yeah, I'm still thinking I'm bad. And then, and then here you are, you talking all bad stuff. And then here you go, you were over 40 years old talking all this mess. And here comes somebody 20 years younger than you and full of muscle and call you out. So
Oh,
I'm like, I better watch what I be saying. Call you out and, like I said, full of muscle. And then if you start to fight and you're older, hey, I can't even breathe, or, I'm so tired. Let me take me a puff of oxygen so I can try to hit you again or something. But, with the anger, just, try to walk away. And then sometimes, you got to think when when somebody's angry and you're arguing, it takes two. Sometimes somebody got to, even myself or whoever, you got to step back and say, you know what, I'm tired. I'm gonna let this person argue by itself, and maybe it'll quiet down that way. The walking away. Some people can't walk away. Some people, get chased with with arguments and words and stuff.
Mhm.
But that really taught me, is to observe the person and try to speak more calmly to that person that is angry. Or if you're angry, take how they say, a woosah or something,
Woosah.
before I say something else that may make this other person more angry at me, and just step back and, to handle the issues of when I am angry and stuff like that. I do take back my thing. I start cleaning up. I
Okay.
start, putting my mind towards something like that. And number one, really start praying and try to, let go and let God, let of the situation, and try to turn it around with a little, because when they say kindness,
Yeah.
if you show kindness, it breaks, you know, just like the word says, love covers all multitude of sins. So
Yeah.
if you show more love, instead of like, well, I ain't talking to you for a whole week, or, or I'm gonna roll my eyes every time you look in my eyes, that's not gonna help the situation.
Mhm.
So, just try to, that's what I try to do, turn it around. I'm married, I'm a married woman. So, all marriages aren't, uh, a festive day every day, but, there's a love, but sometimes there's a,
And anger.
yeah. And then that anger would come out every now and then, I guess because if you live so close to somebody, 24/7, your ways, my ways, it just clashes sometimes.
Yeah.
But love, you got to show love, and if I'm mad at my husband, it's not going to make it any better to stay mad, you
Right.
know. And then if he wants to do all that, let him do it. And then I've learned from my counselor and my pastor that
Mhm.
when there's a space that's given,
Mhm.
take your space.
Take your space. I
Take
agree.
that space. Take that space. Enjoy that space,
Enjoy.
enjoy your space while you have it, because when it's over and done, when it's back, it's
That's
back
right.
on, it's back and
They'll
back
be
on the
back.
job.
They'll be back to normal.
Yes, put that hat back on. But that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Jenny. So good to hear you. You sound great. You sound wonderful. Sounds like your healing is in place. I'm loving what I'm hearing and how I'm hearing it from you. That's amazing. Thank you so much. We're going to move on to our final point, before our time of closing. Um, No, I guess I turned my phone off. It's 10:42. So let's get to the last part. After that anger episode, after it's all over, then what do we do? Let's take this time to listen to ourselves. Let's just listen to the whispers before they become screams again. Because guess what? What happens is lots of times, again, behind the anger is our unmet need, and it's going to remain unmet unless we begin to listen to what our needs are, not what the TV says they are, or the commercials say they are, or the Christmas list say they are, but let's listen to us and see what are our needs so that we can identify what do we need to do to take better care of ourselves. I like how a participant shared on yesterday, I have to meet my unmet needs. I can't wait for someone else to do them. You know, I'll be waiting. I'll be waiting. There's some people that know how to meet my needs. There's some people that don't know how. There's some needs I don't even know that I have. So as I'm learning them, the way to learn them is to identify, hey, why am I feeling this? What's going on? What am I lacking? What am I missing? So when we talk about after an anger producing situation has occurred, we want to find out, let's see what just happened. And it's kind of like the first one that I'm going to share is kind of like Bianca shared earlier. Listen to the most vulnerable sides of yourself. Because remember, we split parts of ourselves off. Well, we want to listen to every part, the part that we split off, the part that we silence, the part that we sweep under the rug, the part that we say, that don't matter. We want to listen to all of our vulnerable parts. We also want to listen to our anger message. Listen to what you're saying. And I mean, really listen, not just hear it, but listen to what your anger message is to see what is the need here. What's really screaming out. Also, notice the patterns. You know, is it because you haven't eaten, you're PMSing, or, you know, is it what every time that you see a couple walking down the street? What is it? Watch the patterns. Let's look at the patterns. Express your anger calmly. Be able to express it to yourself what you're angry about. Also, let's strive to get your needs met through your own efforts. Let's do that so that we're not so angry and so on edge all the time, or even sometime. What pushes me to that place? Also, explore how anger even connects to your traumas in life. How does that anger and my PTSD, or what I went through as a child, or what I went through in the divorce, or what I went through in my unemployment, see how that connects so that I can have some foreknowledge on that. Also, if you want to change others, if you want to change, use methods that work. Sometimes we want to change other people and other people's decisions. Well, criticizing them and being ugly towards them is not the best way to change a person's mindset. Give them real food for thought, excuse me. Be able to talk to them. Give them real food for thought. Also, let's take good care of ourselves. A lot of times that we're angry and walking around doing things, but just in a whole the emptiness of our life is because we're not taking care of us. You know, this is how come in everything that we do, we'll find ourselves becoming very angry, even becoming bitter. But lots of times it's because we're not taking care of ourselves. We're not meeting our needs. We're seeing other people's needs met, and we're being partakers in meeting other people's needs, but not taking care of our own first and foremost. Also, let's change our shoulds to wants. You know, you should do this for me. Well, no, I would like for you to do that for me. You know, nobody should do anything for you. You know, honestly, we're adults now, you know, but turn it into wants. When I'm talking, don't, you should such and such, you should be more, you should be, no, I would like if you was more of this. I would like, let's take it down to the realness, to the nitty gritty. Also, let's create some win-win situations, not win-lose situations where we can both walk away on top. Okay, you need space, I need space. You know, we're going to revisit this another time, you know, or we're going to embrace our space. I love how Miss Jenny said that. You know, sometimes if you're in your intimate partnership, in a marriage, in a boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever your situations are, you know, maybe it's a parent, maybe it's a close uncle or aunt, you know, sometimes we got to create win-win situations so that I don't damage the relationship. I got to create a win-win situation. You win and I win. Now, if it's with a stranger, I'm really concerned about me winning and not blowing up. So I'm going to play the tape and I'm going to contain the situation and I'm going to exit stage left. I'm going to rescue myself from a bad scene, right? So therefore now that I'm in that place of safety, I'm going to think about what just happened. So we're going to create win-win situations for us. Also, notice why you did what you did. Why did I stand there and argue so long? Why is it that I allowed that thing to take me there? How is it? Why did I say that? Why did I? And this is the time to really explore it. Self-discovery is a beautiful thing, but if we do not take the time to discover what's in self, guess what? We'll never know ourselves. We'll walk around with this face, this fake facade of who we think we are, but not knowing who we really are because we haven't taken the time to get to know ourselves. Also, notice your low-level anger before it comes to moderate or severe. Notice when it's just kind of breeding. Notice when it's trying to make its appearance. Notice it and do something about it then. Also, protect yourself from angry influences. You know, sometimes we see gang members, we see people walk around hard, you know, we see different things that influence our angers. We see somebody beat somebody up and show dominance, or however your belief system views it or perceives it. But whatever the anger messages and role models are around you, let's leave that. Let's leave that for the sake of our anger. Also, notice how anger gets misdirected, because sometimes we can feel so intense about a thing on some wrong information, some misinformation. And so just notice how this thing have taken flight in a wrong direction. Also, notice whose point of view is being neglected. Sometimes we're angry at people. But we have to realize that that even in this situation, let's look at the fact that your point of view is important also, but so is the other person's point of view. So whose point of view is being neglected here? Rather than it's just me, you're not listening to me. Well, I heard you 5 times, Andrea. So, you know, so now let's listen to the other person, you know, let's not listen to their anger message, but let's try to do them a favor by doing us a favor and kind of trying to get the message from the anger. Let's try to extract the message that they're trying to say. All I'm hearing is the anger because it's feeding my anger. So let's extract the message from all that. Let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. Let's extract the message out and let's not neglect the true message. Also, apologize to people you've hurt with your anger. Let's be accountable for our anger. That's a part of the healing. It's just like a person on drugs and alcohol. When they enter 12-step, they have to acknowledge that they're an addict. They have to acknowledge it. I got to identify it in myself and I got to take accountability for it. And there's a process, there's a part in the process called making amends. It's not necessarily I'm amending the relationship, even though I'm taking an effort to amend the relationship, but I'm being accountable that, yeah, I did that. I did that. And I'm being accountable to you that I'm changing my life and I want to take account for that. Somebody I might have to pay back. Somebody I may just owe an apology. Somebody I may have to at least give them their flowers and let them know, you know what, I was wrong here, there, that. But I'm making amends. But what I'm really doing is I'm coming to grips with myself, you know, and I'm changing. This is a part of my life change. Also recognize that you may need to mourn things that you cannot change. Sometimes we need to just mourn it. Remember we talked about once we're in that safe place where we're not being harmed or harming anyone, let's take the time to mourn. Let's mourn the losses. Let's mourn the hurts. Let's mourn what we didn't have, what we did have that we missed. Let's mourn all the time that we messed up, fooling around with this ugly behavior. Let's go ahead and mourn that. And now let's reconnect with life. Let's live our best life. 2023 is on the rise, guys, and I want you to live your best life. Let's not go into 2023 with anger, uncontrolled anger. Let's go in control of ourselves, of what God has given us in ourselves, and let's make this the best year ever, because we're walking not in routine old behaviors, but we're walking in behaviors that's needful. I'm listening to my internal self. I'm listening to my heart, my mind, my spirit, and I'm meeting my needs. So I don't walk around with the brick on my shoulder, or with the chip, excuse me. Well, sometimes it is a brick, the chip on my shoulder. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to meet my needs. I'm going to stay in a good place, and I'm going to stay safe, and I'm going to move forward in healthiness. Anyone would like to share anything before we close? Well, all right, guys. All right. All right. It was an awesome day. Thank you so much for all of your feedback. You guys are amazing. You rock in so many different ways that you don't even know how amazing that you are, how amazing you are. But guess what? One thing that we're going to identify is that I'm going to maintain my amazingness. I'm going to maintain what God has given me. I'm going to live my best life. I'm going to move away from those unwanted behaviors that were routinely my own, and they kept following me, making the same destructive outcomes for me. I'm going to take control. I'm going to get back in the driver's seat of my life, and I'm going to live my best life. I don't know about that, my neighbor. I don't know about my cousin and them. I may not even know what my sister and brother's decision are. But one thing about it, we have to know what our decisions are. We have found a path that we want to follow in Christ, and we're going to go ahead and follow him, and we're going to live our best life. And we're going to be connected to the path, and we're going to continue to call in and support one another in our change. So for today, we're going to move forward, and we're going to move forward in healthiness and in love. So God bless each and every one of you. I will hear you on tomorrow. Live free, guys. Live free. Love you all. God bless you.